Hi everyone, and welcome to the Taurus August 2021 Spiritual Connection reading. This is I Am Illuminated Tarot and Meaning-Based Spiritual Coaching Services. I am Lauren. Hi and welcome. So this is one of 3 connection readings I complete each month for each sign that focuses on some area of awareness. So we will bring, in this specific reading, we'll bring awareness to your unique internal authentic self and how it connects to your external environment. We also have the self-connection reading, which is all about just connecting with your unique internal authentic self. And then the last reading, which is the last reading of the month, the love connection reading. That's a reading where we take a look at how you are connecting your unique internal authentic self with the energies of love, both general and romantic, as well as the energies of people around you. All right, so we're going to get right into your reading here, Taurus. So we're going to start by pulling a card for your energy. Woo, and it comes right out. So we have the 7 of Swords. So Taurus, this is going to be a card that represents, the 7 of Swords in the tarot represents, as you can kind of see, and I know these cards are super itty bitty, but it basically is an individual who looks like they are trying to sneak off with a bunch of swords in their hands. And there's this element to this card that can denote trying to get away with something. This can be, if it's coming up for your external environment, this would be somebody in your external environment maybe trying to do something sneaky or maybe lying or something along those lines. But since it's coming up for your internal energy, and really what this whole reading is about is to look at your unique internal authentic self and how that's being called in and up to engage with the external environment, to be able to help you better see your place and purpose and allow you to engage authentically. And what I'm feeling from you, Taurus, is that there's this element of kind of wanting to not run away or not meet destiny. So when we look at our external environment, I like to refer to that as destiny. This is the part of our experience that we can't control. And this part of our experience, which is us, is the part that's within our control. This is where we get a chance to tap into our free will to engage with destiny, the external factors to ourselves, which include people as well. And there's this quality of kind of wanting to run away from what destiny is calling you up and in to meet right now with your external environment. So I'm going to pull a card now to see the energy for your external environment, to kind of get an idea of what's going on over there, what we might be running from. In Taurus, we have in the external environment a beautiful card. It's the Empress. Now the Empress actually is a card that carries both Taurus and Libra energy. So this is a card that's actually associated with your sign, Taurus. And the Empress is a card that represents in the major arcana really stepping into that knowledge that we have the ability to give birth to what we choose. So it's basically manifestation through our own abilities to, whether it's giving physical birth, whether it's giving birth to a creative project, but it's the knowledge that we have this ability within ourselves. And when it's coming up in your external environment, there's this quality here with, you can kind of see in this picture, it looks like this guy is looking back at her, right? And trying to kind of sneak off. Now, swords in the tarot, it's all about air energy. And air directly connects to our mental part of our experience. So we have 4 different parts of our experience, which are the physical, the mental, the emotional, and the spiritual. And when we're thinking about swords, when we're thinking about the mental aspect, this is basically on a mental level trying to not want to engage with some aspect of your external environment that is asking you to step up into the role of the creator, asking you to step up into really bringing what I feel is either some aspect of self or your ideas to life. And on a mental side, you are trying to convince yourself that you don't need to engage with this. It's like trying to run away on a mental level of, well, I don't know if I can do that. I don't know if I can really step up into that energy of harnessing, giving birth to something. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pull in some cards here to fill in what I call the void. Now, if you'd like to learn more about the void, I have 2 links in the description box below that specifically discuss the Triad of Engagement, along with also just how this energy and a further description of how I describe that is in those videos. I won't drag you into that here. But to move forward, basically the void is a protective expanse or barrier that we create as we move from childhood into adulthood. And it's something that is created each time we try to bring out a unique part of our internal authentic self and engage it with our external environment. Ooh, got quite a few things that came out here. So let's go ahead, put these out. Got a couple more cards and then we'll go over the energies behind all of these. Getting some big, powerful cards here, Taurus. And basically how this void is created is when we try to bring out some aspect of self, and it ends up, as we connect it and engage it with our external environment, it's either, let's say, ridiculed, or we try to bring out an ability and work with it, and in doing so, we maybe fail at the first time we try to utilize it. And instead of continuing to work with our abilities or work with that aspect of our spiritual self, we build a barrier between it and our external environment so that we don't have to feel that pain again. We don't have to feel that sting of either failure or being laughed at or ridiculed, and we start to mask the aspects of ourself more and more and more from being seen authentically in our external environment. And this is where our challenge lies, our blocks lie from us being able to be just ourselves and be able to engage with our external environment, to really be able to not only allow ourselves to see our place and purpose and feel a sense of meaning and value in the actions we take out here, but also for the greater collective experience out here to really be able to be affected on a positive level by what we bring to the greater collective experience out here. So that's why it's really important to really bring awareness to your unique internal authentic self, and at any given time be aware of how you're engaging that with and sharing that with your external experience. So Taurus, the first card here is your challenge card. So we have the Hanged Man. Now, just to go over these cards, we have the Hanged Man, we have the Prince of Pentacles, which is in the traditional tarot would be the Knight of Pentacles. We have the Queen of Wands, the Tower, and the Wheel of Fortune. Lots of very powerful cards here. So we have 3 major arcana. We have the Hanged Man, the Tower, and the Wheel of Fortune, and we have the Empress over here on the end. So the Hanged Man is a divinely inspired pause. It's where we are asked to hang upside down, basically, to see what currently is in our environment from a new perspective. And it's a divine pause so that we are able to see something that Spirit or the universe or God or whatever, however you choose to describe it, wants us to see because there's something that we're missing. And for this to come up as a challenge, what I'm feeling here is that there's basically been a pause that's taken place. And this could be a pause where maybe, again, when we're thinking about a divinely inspired pause, this can be when things, from our own perspective, don't seem to be moving fast enough, or we seem to be working towards a goal and it's constantly something's coming in to not allow us to meet that goal or to allow us to move towards it quickly. So this could look like you really wanting to buy a house, but every time things start to align, something falls through. And so you're constantly kind of in this hanged man state of, okay, well, I want to get to here, but I can't quite. And where this can become a challenge is when we are refusing to see what we are being pushed to see from a different perspective. So there's something that's being withheld kind of at arm's length because we're supposed to be seeing something that we need to learn or something that needs to change or a new perspective before we can move on. And so this can end up becoming a block because we are choosing not to see. We are choosing to instead simply get frustrated and to focus on why something we're trying so hard to make come into fruition is not. Instead of realizing, well, maybe it's not because there's something new that I need to understand about why this is being held at arm's length. So let's say it is you wanting to buy a house. And even though you have the money saved, and even though you have the area that you want to, purchase the home picked out, and every time you go to pick out a home, it's either somebody else gets to it first, or somehow the house is just maybe this is the perfect house, but it's just a tiny bit over your budget, and you only have X amount of money, things like that. Well, the reason why that might be being held at arm's length is because perhaps that original desire to purchase a home is no longer in alignment with you. That maybe at one point you had wanted to purchase this home because you were in a committed relationship and you guys were going to start a family and yada and so forth. And maybe things have changed since that original decision. Maybe you're no longer in that committed relationship with that previous person. Maybe you have a new job that might not support living in that specific area that you had originally focused on, etc. And the divine is asking you to step into this place of awareness to say, why don't we look at this from a new perspective? Is this really the best option for you now? And as a Taurus, and I know because I am a Taurus sun sign myself, we can be very stubborn at times. And we can be very, when we put our minds towards this is the outcome. Now, any fixed sign, which Taurus, you are a fixed sign in the Zodiac. Any fixed sign can have difficulty kind of deviating from, but this was my path. But this was what was supposed to happen. And I can say from my own perspective, many people, regardless of your zodiac sign, have problems being able to, I'd say, be flexible when something doesn't seem to be manifesting exactly as you had wanted it to. And that's really where we get stuck with the hangman as our challenge. We just can't get past that, but this is how it was supposed to be, but this is how I wanted it. But this is where my house was supposed to be, and it was supposed to be this size, and I wanted it to be in this location with this size of a yard. And suddenly what we're realizing is we're so focused on those details that we miss the bigger picture of the underlying why did we originally want that house. And the reason why I'm saying we're getting lost in the details is because the next card that comes up is the Prince of Pentacles, which technically is the Knight of Pentacles, which brings in the energy of Virgo. And the energy of, through slow, careful, step-by-step planning, devils in the details kind of thought process, we're going to achieve our goal. And these two being side by side really shows me that that's exactly what this is kind of calling out, why this is a challenge. Because right now you have been very methodical, you've had your plan, you've seen all the details, but yet still what you wanted is not manifesting. And really where we can help start to clear this block, instead of trying to run away from it, trying to run away from basically the manifestation of something we have been working towards, but the manifestation of that in a different way than what we were originally planning. We are being asked now to face this, to face the why behind why something might not be manifesting exactly the way that we had tried to make it happen. Because then in the middle we have the Queen of Wands. And the Queen of Wands is it harnesses the energy of understanding how to work with your passions. When I talk about specifically wands in general, the Ace of Wands, which is the start of the wands in the tarot, that is kind of your magic wand. That's what we're given at our creation, regardless of what you believe and how you believe it. This is our tie to the divine, saying here are your unique magic wand, your unique set of passions and dreams and hopes. It's basically your eternal flame. And you get to learn how to wield that. And your magic wand is different from everybody's magic wand. And there's this quality here of tapping into this energy, of realizing that we have the ability within ourselves at any given time to take action from a place of passion. And to not have to maybe get lost so much in the details. Because when you think about it, if you knew you had a magic wand where you could just kind of go hocus pocus and bing, I get to have whatever I can just make my house. I could just pick the plot of land, go bing, and suddenly my house appears. Well, that would kind of not entail all that careful planning, right? You would actually not have to get so lost in the details. Instead, you'd realize, okay, well, I just need to focus on creating. But, caveat, what if that magic wand only created what would truly be of the highest value to you at any given time? So even though maybe you think you'd want to, I don't know, when we think about it, it makes me actually think of being a kid. I think about when I was a teenager and I had my first job and I got my first paycheck, and I could spend that paycheck any way that I wanted. And I could take it to the grocery store. My parents weren't there. I was 15. I could drive myself at the time. And I remember going to the grocery store and buying all of the junk food things that my parents wouldn't let me buy. Like buying a pack of Bear Claws and some candy, some giant bag of candy and something else. And I went home and I ate these things until I almost got sick. But it was like one of those things where I just wanted it, but it wasn't really good for me. And of course, I didn't go ahead and do that again after that. It was just like that realization of like, ooh, I have this power. I can make whatever I want. And there's almost that learning curve here of what I'm seeing, where there's this quality of realizing you have this magic wand and that you can make happen with whatever you want, but it's within your spiritual connection to the divine. that if you think about having that magic wand and being able to create whatever you want, well, there is a tie. There is this quality of, if you were asked now to have to give a why, a personal why behind everything that you wanted to create. So before you could create that giant, pile of lottery money or that winning lotto ticket, that you also had to sit there and answer the question, well, why do you want that lotto ticket? Before you could manifest it. How would that change what you want for yourself? How would having to explain to yourself and to spirit now the why behind some aspect of yourself that you've been wanting to manifest and it hasn't quite been happening in the way that you've wanted, how would that change your perspective on what you're actually asking to create? Because then on the other side of this, we have the Tower. And the Tower is when we have that big shakeup. That's when the divine comes in and says, okay, no more. You've taken too long. You haven't seen what we've been trying to get you to see. And you're basically stuck in this ivory tower of safety and security and routine, and you're not wanting to budge. And so now, oh, sorry guys, I have some work going on right outside the door. So, apologize. But now the destiny steps in and says, okay, like we can't just we can't leave you here to sit and suffer. We need to come in and basically burn down the faulty tower that is no longer necessary, so that you can start fresh with a new firm foundation and be able to finally see what we were trying to get you to see over here, to get you to move towards what destiny is asking you to step into. And then we meet the Wheel of Fortune. And this is where everything starts to turn in your favor. The energy starts moving again, and you get the chance to start to move forward. But this is that, so we have the challenge here, moving into having to face that kind of rude awakening of, oh shoot, I've been focused so much on that house and so much on it being here with this and this and this, that I actually haven't realized how much I've changed since the first inception of that idea. And now when I look back, I realized, well, I don't even really want that kind of home anymore. Maybe 5 years ago when I started saving and I started looking, again, I had the committed partnership and I had a different job and my family still lived in the area. But now things have changed. Maybe now you work remotely and you can work anywhere. And maybe that location can be moved to any place. You can open yourself up now to looking at homes maybe even out of state or out of the country. There's this quality here, same thing, like maybe you were so focused on trying to, make a specific relationship work. And now you're realizing, well, that person that I've been either trying to make a relationship work now or trying desperately to seek out this ideal person over here, maybe that person doesn't even match who I am now. And it's time for me to go back to the drawing board. Because what you're being told here is that as soon as this realization hits, and the Tower is a very powerful realization, when you realize the why behind what you've been looking at now has changed. And it actually now has changed your whole view, your perspective on this aspect of self you've been so focused on. That once that comes down, that illusion comes down of, oh wow, this aspect of myself has changed. That as the energy starts to move forward again, that can be a little scary. And that can be where we don't want to engage. That can be where we want to run away. And instead, what destiny, the universe, the divine design is asking you to do is to realize, no, you have the ability to give birth to what you want. You have your magic wand. You just have to know that the power's within you to now create what you want on this side, to step up into this level of being of true abundance. But you have to bring forward a level of self-awareness now of how things have changed, how you have changed, and the real why now behind what you want to create. So again, the real crux of this whole kind of breaking through this challenge here, this block, is really looking at yourself with this magic wand of being able to create for yourself whatever you want. These two are directly tied together. But you have to go back and answer the why first. Why is it so important for me to achieve this goal? And what part of myself is that going to fulfill? And how is that going to be an authentic expression of myself as I am now? Not as I was 5 years ago, not as I was even maybe just a year ago, but who I am in the moment. The Queen of Wands lives in the present moment. She's taking stock at any given time as to what she wants to create for herself from a place of her passion, but right now. She's not carefully plotting and planning all of her little steps. This is where she's like, oh, okay, I'm in the middle. And actually her original card in the tarot is her sitting on a throne in the middle of the desert. What looks like, I think there's a pyramid in the background and it looks kind of like Egypt, but yet there are sunflowers growing up next to her. And so it's a representation that she can make grow, just like the Empress can, anything, anywhere, anytime she wants. And in her hand, she's also holding one of those sunflowers, showing that they have meaning and value to her in that moment. She didn't just make them to then turn her back and walk away from them. She made those sunflowers appear so that she could enjoy them because they held some value and meaning for her in the present moment. And she is in that present moment enjoying one of them in her hand. And so that's really what's coming through for me here, Taurus, is that there's this quality of really stepping into this place of who are you now, and really reevaluating what you want to bring forth. And maybe where you've been running away a little bit from letting go of an old idea or version of self to move forward into what, I mean, this combination here, very powerful. Wheel of Fortune and the Empress. This is basically the energy of forward momentum coupled with you being able to create for yourself whatever you'd like to manifest for yourself. But you can't just wait for that to happen. You have to actually make it happen. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to pull 3 additional cards for what I call the Triad of Engagement, where we're going to take a look at the 3 principles of curiosity, courage, and contemplation, and how they're going to help you bridge this challenge of being able to kind of step in to facing some aspect of self to be able to come in and create for yourself. So we're going to pull a energy oracle card here for the concept of curiosity. And curiosity helps us build that bridge over the void, to help allow you to connect authentically with your external environment. This is where we get a chance to start to tap into optimism and openness and receptivity again, where we kind of break through that whole, but I need it to be like this. And if it's not, I'm going to just keep waiting. And this is where we're saying, no, we're not going to keep waiting. We're actually now going to build that bridge and start opening ourselves up to engaging with our external environment. And the energy card that comes out here is Woman Holding a Heart, number 44. Beautiful card. And really what I see here, and again, you could be a man watching this reading. This doesn't have to just be pertaining to a woman, but there's this element here of tapping into the energy of love. That utilizing that energy of, and the number 44 is an angelic number. It's actually a number that I would kind of associate actually with the Hanged Man. There's this quality of angelic guidance that comes through. The number 4 alone in numerology denotes creating a stable foundation. It's taking very stable, measured action. And the number 44 reduces to the number 8, and the 8 is self-empowerment. The 8 is where you have that chance to really step into a place of abundance through taking action on behalf of basically taking empowered action from a place of authenticity. So there is this quality here of, as you're wanting to build this bridge between your internal self and the external environment, tapping into that energy of divine guidance and your self-empowerment, your place of self-empowerment, and being curious and open as to what you're actually wanting to create in your external environment. What do you want to walk across this bridge to find on the other side? All right, now we're going to pull a Power of Surrender card for the principle of courage. And courage is what helps us really step into that place of self-empowerment. This is where we get a chance to work with having courage to make the decision to take action from a place of authenticity. So this is where we get the chance to actually, we built the bridge through curiosity of saying, okay, maybe what I've been working towards isn't 100% what's within my best interest now. So now I'm going to be curious about what might be and what I can create for myself now. And now we're going to step into the courage. And courage is where we actually have the courage to take the action to walk across the bridge and engage with the external environment. Because it's not enough to just sit back and be curious about the external environment. We actually now have to take action to engage with it. And this is where we really get the Wheel of Fortune turning. This is where we get a chance to engage our free will with destiny. So we have surrendered to the beauty of the natural world. And it says, take a relaxing break and spend time in nature. Replenish yourself by feeling the beauty and the ecstasy there. Perfect card for you, Taurus. You are a earth sign that is really tied to Mother Nature, actually, as is the energy of the Empress. And so when we're thinking about the concept of courage and taking action, there is this quality here of really stepping into not only just what it's saying here. I mean, it's always great to go out into nature and kind of refresh yourself on that level. But there's also this quality here of tapping back into that element of your connection to the physical world, because you are an earth sign. You really have this ability to want, kind of like what I was saying with the Queen of Wands. There's this quality of wanting to enjoy the best of life, but in a tangible way. It's okay to, when we talk about being on the spiritual level and light workers and all of that, to say like, oh, I don't need my tie to physical things, and I don't need, I should be beyond that. But in reality, being a Taurus, whether you're a sun sign Taurus or rising sign Taurus or a moon sign, or you have Taurus in another placement in your chart, there is this tie to sensuality. And I don't mean just when we think about sensuality as part of sexuality, but sensuality in that you are ruled by your senses. And your senses are tied to the physical on a lot of levels. So this is about really being tied to loving beautiful things, loving to be surrounded by physical things that allow you to really feel that your internal authenticity is expressed within your external environment, which really is about manifesting in your external environment. So there's this quality here of finding the courage to take action, to admit to yourself that you still might want certain physical elements in your experience, and that they may have changed, but you don't have to deny yourself certain things. So if you still want a home, now maybe the why behind it has changed, and maybe the where and the how it's going to look has changed, but it still doesn't mean that, you still don't have to come to this place of, well, now I'm so spiritually evolved, I shouldn't want any material goods. So whether I have a shack or a backpack or a home, I should be happy with that. So, no, this is about coming back to who you are uniquely, authentically now. So for you, maybe the original home you wanted was actually not up to par with what you should have been asking for. Maybe you needed to ask for something bigger. Maybe instead of like, oh, I've just been saving for that 1-bedroom condo, maybe now you're being asked to say no, because that's not actually going to fulfill you. Maybe who you are now is the beautiful home with the ocean view. And it's okay to admit that to yourself now, because that's what destiny is calling you in to want. It's about feeling into what you want. And maybe you want that beautiful home on the water's edge with a beautiful view, because that is what is going to make you feel emotionally fulfilled. Maybe in the past 5 years, your financial situation has changed dramatically and you've been working your butt off. And what you had originally been working towards is no longer part of what will actually fulfill you as you are in this moment. So there is this quality of allowing yourself to lean into who you are, Taurus, as a sensual being, and kind of tapping back into that. What would you want to create in your external environment? What would make you feel good right now? What would you like to be surrounded by? And start to utilize that as kind of that push to walk across that bridge, to know that you are being asked to actually create that. You can actually touch that out here. All right, last card, we will pull one out for contemplation. And contemplation is a principle that helps us engage with reflection and connection. So in contemplation, this is where we get a chance to really take a look at where we were curious, where we decided to take action, and then connect the consequences that happened from the actions we took. So this is where we get a chance to then walk back across the bridge, back to ourselves, to say, okay, we went out into our external environment, we engaged this part of ourself out here. Now what did we learn? And you have Pillar of Light. Your vibration is rising, you are the oracle. Powerful card. It's a card that says to me that you're growing, that you have grown, that you're elevating spiritually. Now, Taurus, I mean, I don't know how much you guys want to, are into, let's say, signs and, kind of where the planets are in alignment right now. But Taurus, you in general have a planetary alignment. You have Uranus in your sign. And Uranus is the big change maker. And it's generally a sign that's not very happy in the sign, or it's a planet that's not very happy in the sign of Taurus, because Taurus is a very stable, fixed energy. But Taurus, you are also associated with the energy of the High Priest in the tarot. So there is a spiritual component to Taurus, as well as this Empress quality to Taurus in the tarot. And then you're having a planet that's kind of the big think outside the box spiritual shakeup. And so there's this element here of people who are tied to the energy of Taurus are kind of going through an internal, truly vibrational, kind of shakeup, which is kind of what the Tower is coming in here to denote as well. That the energies are coming in to say, we're tearing down all the old stuff, all the old baggage and clutter and stuff that used to be you, and now you've grown past that. It's almost like the universe coming in and asking you nicely, like, just have a garage sale and get rid of some of this stuff. And you're like, no, I'll look at my garage filled with junk later. I'll clean up my basement later. And the universe is like, can you just get rid of it? Like, look, we'll have the goodwill swing by, they'll pick it all up, you'll start fresh. And you're like, no, I don't really, maybe later. And finally the universe comes in and is like, look, we're done. We're done with this. We're just gonna like set fire to all this junk. We don't even care if it goes to the Goodwill. We're not gonna, we tried to let you make some money off of it in a garage sale and you didn't want, so we're just gonna get rid of it because we're trying to bring in new things for you and you don't have the room for it. And that's basically what the Tower is. The Tower is saying, we need you to be open to making room for what we're trying to help you manifest, for the new stuff that's coming in. And that's really what's happening. So as a point of contemplation, to kind of look at where you're taking action and kind of where you are right now, where have you grown spiritually? And that whole question of looking at the why behind what you're wanting to work towards, what you're wanting to manifest for yourself. Where has that why changed? And where is it now showing you how you've changed? All right, Taurus, I'm going to go ahead and pull some last clarifier cards for your energy in the external, just to see if there's any additional messages that want to come out. We have the Seven of Cups. Ooh. With the Eight of Swords. Okay, and then the Empress. Let's see, any clarifying cards for the Empress? Any additional, oops, the Tower again. Well, goodness. Okay, so Taurus, Eight of Swords, Seven of Cups. What this is telling me is that this is being mentally trapped by the illusion of all of these choices that could lead to emotional fulfillment. So there's this element of almost wanting to hide from your own ability to step into creating the abundance you want to on this side, stepping up into the power of the Empress, because you are hiding behind, well, there's just so many things. If I could create, if I could create anything, I mean, there's just so many options. I could choose that, I could choose that, I could choose that. And in reality, there's only a couple things. And specifically, the Seven of Cups really denotes this is truly an illusion. The real fulfillment starts from within. You don't need all of these external things to provide you with fulfillment. It's fun to have options, but in reality, you only have the one cup of divine, unconditional love from the universe that is always constantly full. And so there's this quality here of the Eight of Swords is the perception that you're trapped. But again, it's in the mental level. So this is feeling like you're trapped in your head by too many choices and you don't know which one to choose. And so you're like, I'm just not going to choose any. It's like, no. The realization, and why the Tower came up again over here, is the realization is that you have the power to create from your own full cup, from within, what you want to create. Not having to choose from all these external options. That's the illusion. The reality is that you are the Empress, you are the Queen of Wands. You can see she holds that wand as well in her hand, just as she's holding that here. And she gets to create what she wants for herself, but with understanding as to how what she's creating is truly fulfilling herself authentically. It is an external representation of who she is internally at this moment. And that's where the Tower comes down. That's where you realize, oh, I don't need all of these other external things. I don't need to cling to this idea or that option or this option. I love this image of the Tower. I love that it shows the kind of top heavy part falling down, and it's just the strong part left over. And that's really what's coming down here, is that illusion of all of these things external to yourself. And in reality, you can create for yourself what you want, not based on other people's options or other external options. It's doing it from your internal why, your internal wants and desires of what you want to feel and touch, how you want your life, what you want it to look like and taste like and feel like. So Taurus, just as a last message before I end this reading, I think this is going to be a powerful month. You're being asked to really take stock of who you are now, but from a place of honest, open awareness. And to look at what you've been working towards, to look at what really maybe you felt frustrated with isn't manifesting exactly the way that you want, and to look at why. And then to go back to say, if you knew you had a magic wand and you could manifest anything for yourself, the life that would feel good to you, what would that look like and why? And then that's where you're going to have to start. That why is going to be the seed, the kernel of where you decide to take action from this place forward. It's also what's going to help you stop feeling like you're stuck. Stop feeling like you're not achieving what you want to achieve. And stop getting stuck and hung up on, there's just so many options. No, you are the option. That option, the one cup, lies within you. And that's what you're discovering this month. Really empowering reading, Taurus. If you would like to book a personal tarot reading or a one-on-one coaching session, the link to my website is in the description box below. You can, if you'd like to turn a one-on-one coaching session into a live tarot reading, by all means, we can do that. That's what those are meant to be for. And if you don't see a subject matter or topic that you'd like to book a tarot reading around, you can simply write what you'd like the area of focus to be in the notes, and I will focus on that in the reading. I hope you get a chance to check out your self-connection reading, which is already up for the month of August, and your love connection reading, which will be posted next week. Have a fantastic rest of the day and month, and I look forward to reading for you again in September. Bye, Taurus.